Ready to unlock some happiness secrets. We're diving deep into the happiness hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt, kind of like a blend of ancient wisdom and modern science, all about why changing for the better is so darn hard.
Yeah, he doesn't shy away from the struggle, that's for sure. Like, right off the bat, he hits you with this idea that we're all internally divided. He says to imagine a rider on an elephant.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
So the rider,
Hmm.
that's our logical side, the part that wants to make good choices, the responsible one.
Gotcha. And the elephant. I'm guessing this isn't some tiny, easily trained elephant, right?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
The elephant, see, that's our emotions, our gut reactions, those deep-seated instincts, all that powerful stuff that can kind of, like, hijack our best intentions. Ever tried breaking a bad habit but got totally derailed?
Ugh. Yeah, been there. You're talking about that feeling when you're, like, fighting with yourself.
Exactly. It's not just some cute metaphor either. Haidt backs this up with some wild scientific research. He talks about these split brain experiments where scientists learned a ton from patients who basically had the connection between their brain hemispheres severed.
Wait, seriously? Two separate minds in one head? How does that even work?
So picture this. Researchers could show each hemisphere a different image. And get this, the patient could point to an object shown to their nonverbal side, even though they couldn't say what they saw. It's like one part of the brain knew something, the other part didn't.
Whoa, that's kind of mind-blowing. But, how does this whole split brain thing connect to us trying to be happier?
Well, it shows that we're not always in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? We've got all these powerful subconscious forces at play, and trying to ignore them, well, it's like trying to steer that elephant by sheer willpower alone.
So basically, yelling at myself to change is probably not the most effective strategy.
You got it.
Duh.
Instead of brute force, think more like, training a dog. Positive reinforcement, some patience, maybe even a few treats along the way.
Okay, so we've got this, like, powerful elephant to work with, but where are we even trying to go with it? If we're on this happiness journey, what's the destination? What's it look like?
The million-dollar question, right? Well, Haidt says most people think happiness, it's all about getting what they want, They get stuck in that if-only trap.
Oh, tell me about it. If only I had that dream job, that perfect relationship, then I'd finally be happy. Story of my life.
Right. But here's the thing. Our brains, they're masters of adaptation. We finally get that new car, that big promotion, and yeah, there's a burst of joy, for sure. But it fades and way faster than we expect.
We just get used to it, huh? So, like, even winning the lottery wouldn't solve all my problems.
That's exactly what Haidt says. He talks about studies on lottery winners. After a while, they're not actually any happier than folks who didn't win. It's called hedonic adaptation. Our happiness baseline, it kind of resets, even after major life events.
Wow, that's fascinating and a little depressing at the same time. So if it's not about chasing those external things, then what is it? Where do we even begin?
Well, this is where it gets really cool. Haidt lays out this happiness formula. He says happiness, or H, it equals S plus C plus V.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. Break that down for me.
All right, so S is our set point. Think of it like a happiness thermostat, like some people are just naturally more optimistic, while others are prone to, worrying more.
So you're saying we're kind of stuck with whatever happiness level we're born with. Doesn't seem very fair.
Well, hold on. It's not totally set in stone.
Yes.
It's more like a range. Our genes, they give us this baseline, but our choices, our experiences, they can nudge us up or down within that range.
Okay, good. So what about that C in the equation?
C stands for conditions. This is the stuff we can actually change in our lives. Things like our relationships, our work environment, even just how much control we feel like we have day to day.
So those external factors, they do matter, just maybe not in the way we usually think.
Right. It's less about chasing pleasure from, possessions, and more about creating a life that truly nourishes well-being. Strong social connections, meaningful work, a sense of autonomy. Those are the conditions that really impact long-term happiness.
This is making a lot of sense. It's like building a foundation for happiness, not just chasing those fleeting highs. Okay, so tell me about the V. What's that all about?
So V is for voluntary activities, the things we choose to do each day, like practicing gratitude, nurturing those hobbies, learning new things, helping other people.
I like that. It gives us a sense of control, right? We might not have total control over our genes or our circumstances, but we can control how we choose to spend our time and energy.
Exactly. And Haidt really highlights how some voluntary activities are more powerful than others when it comes to happiness. Engaging your strengths, the things you're naturally good at, and especially, using those strengths to contribute to something bigger than yourself, that's where the magic really happens.
Interesting. So it's not enough to just find activities we personally enjoy. It's about using our skills and talents to make a difference in the world.
You got it. Think about a time you used your skills to help someone out, volunteered for a cause you care about. It felt pretty good, right?
It did. It's like a win-win. You're playing to your strengths at A&D, making a positive impact. I get how that would boost happiness.
And it speaks to this common misconception about happiness, that it's all about, finding happiness within. That makes it sound so internal, so solitary. But Haidt's saying true happiness comes from connecting with the world, from being a part of something bigger.
So it's not about like shutting ourselves off from the world to meditate our way to bliss. It's more about engaging with life, building those relationships, finding meaning and purpose in what we do.
Exactly. And that brings us to one of the most surprising parts of this whole happiness journey, the role of adversity.
Adversity. Wait, like challenges and tough times. How does that lead to happiness? Now, this I gotta hear. Adversity for happiness. Okay, you're gonna have to explain this one. That sounds like some kind of self-help guru mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, I know, right? Sounds kind of counterintuitive. But Haidt, he digs into all this research on something called, get this, post-traumatic growth.
Post-traumatic growth.
Yeah, it turns out going through tough stuff, illness, loss, even those big old setbacks we all face, it can actually fundamentally change people for the better.
So it's not just about bouncing back to how you were before, but coming out even stronger.
That's the idea. People who've been through these experiences, they often talk about having a deeper appreciation for life. Their relationships become more meaningful. They find more clarity in their purpose. It's like those difficult times, as painful as they are, they also bring about this whole new level of, growth.
I mean, I guess when you put it that way.
Yeah.
But how does that translate into actually feeling happier?
Well, imagine this. Sometimes it takes a real shakeup to make you realize what truly matters, Like when you're confronted with hardship, it can totally shift your priorities. You start to focus on the things you might have been taking for granted.
Huh. So it's like a wake-up call. We stop sweating the small stuff and suddenly, bam, we're more present, more grateful for what we do have.
Haidt actually uses this analogy of a good story, right? He says you can't have a truly compelling story without some twists and turns. Those challenges, they add depth, meaning to the overall story.
Oh, I like that. So those tough times, those difficult chapters, they're what make the whole story richer. But wait, does that mean we should go looking for adversity? Should I go out of my way to find trouble just to grow from it?
No, Haidt's definitely not advocating for signing up for a bunch of painful experiences or anything. It's more about changing our perspective. When those inevitable challenges pop up, instead of asking, why me? Maybe we ask, okay, what can I learn from this?
So it's about changing our mindset, how we view those inevitable challenges. Instead of seeing them as purely negative, we can try to reframe them as opportunities.
Exactly. And look, it's not about minimizing the pain or pretending like everything's sunshine and rainbows when it's not. It's more about acknowledging the difficulty, but also, also being open to the possibility that, hey, some good can come out of this.
This is really giving me a new way to think about things. It's not that the tough stuff magically disappears, but we're actually equipped to handle it, with more resilience. And who knows, maybe even find some meaning in it all.
And that search for meaning. That's something Haidt gets into even deeper when he explores, well, this might sound kind of old school, the ancient wisdom of virtue.
Virtue, huh?
Yeah, like honesty, kindness, self-control, all that good stuff. He argues that cultivating these virtues, it's not just about being a good person. It can actually make us happier.
Wait, hold on. There's a connection between being virtuous and feeling happier?
Seems like it. Think about a time when you did something nice for somebody else, or a time you acted with integrity, even when it was hard. You probably felt a sense of peace, satisfaction, maybe even a little boost of self-esteem.
It's true. It's like our actions are lining up with our values, giving us this sense of purpose. Plus, it just feels good to do good.
Exactly. Haidt even talks about Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers. He used to keep this virtue journal to keep track of his progress. It just goes to show even small, consistent effort to cultivate these virtues, it can make a big difference.
A virtue journal, huh? I might have to try that. But I'm curious, how does all this connect back to happiness, to that sense of deep fulfillment?
Well, Haidt's argument is that us humans, we're kind of wired to find meaning and purpose by connecting to something larger than ourselves.
Yeah.
Whether that's our community, a cause, or just being a good friend, parent, sibling, whatever. contributing to something bigger, it seems to be key.
It's like this feeling of belonging, right? Like
Yeah.
we're part of something bigger than just us. And we can nurture that by, by being virtuous, by contributing, connecting with the world in a meaningful way.
Exactly. And that kind of leads us to what might be Haidt's most important point. True happiness, he says, it doesn't just come from within. And it's not just about external things either. It comes from between.
Between.
Yeah, like it comes from the quality of our connections to other people,
Hmm.
to work that feels meaningful, to something, anything that kind of transcends our own, individual lives.
So it's not just about feeling good on the inside. It's not about racking up achievements on the outside. It's about those deep, meaningful connections we build.
You got it. This whole deep dive into Haidt, it's really about understanding that happiness, it's not this magical destination, some checklist we got to tick off. It's about understanding ourselves, emotional elephants and all, and then actually, engaging with the world, building those connections. That's what brings the real lasting fulfillment.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I gotta say, you've given me a whole new perspective on this whole happiness thing. It's not some finish line we cross, but this journey, one full of self-discovery, growth, challenges, you name it.
And hey, remember, you already have everything you need for that journey. Now go on, get out there, embrace that inner elephant, and start building those connections that make life so rich and, well, meaningful.